Well, a serious warning from top national security experts. They say an electromagnetic pulse attack, also known as an EMP, could be devastating. It could easily damage the country's critical infrastructure, especially the electrical grid. Peter Vincent Pry, the executive director of the Electromagnetic Pulse Task Force and Advisory Board on National and Homeland Security, is joining us now. He just wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal documenting the threat to melt the electric grid, which is enough to get our attention. Dr. Pry, nice to have you on the program.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You have quite the resume of experience. You worked as an intelligence officer for the CIA. You focused specifically as well your career on this threat. When you look at what's facing our nation right now, why is this of such great concern to you?
Because it is the greatest threat that our nation and Western civilization faces. You know, it was deeply classified throughout most of the Cold War, and only after the EMP Commission reports declassified much of the information about EMP did it become publicly known. And so it is one of the least understood threats, and yet the greatest threat that we face. You know, because if a terrorist organization or North Korea or Iran detonated just a single nuclear weapon at high altitude over the United States, you know, it would destroy the electric grid and our critical infrastructures and put at risk the lives of up to 90% of the American people. You know, we all depend directly or indirectly. We all live directly or indirectly off of electricity. We're an electronic civilization. And it's also a threat from nature, you know, because there is such a thing as a geomagnetic superstorm. They've happened in the past in 1859 and 1921, and they're inevitable. It's going to happen again someday. There was a NASA report in last year that said that that we just barely missed by 3 days being hit by a geomagnetic superstorm back in 2012. And when that happens, it could take out electric grids and the critical infrastructures that support life.
There you have it, from Dr. Peter Vincent Pry himself, director of the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security. An electromagnetic pulse, EMP for short, would literally send the entire country back into the 1800s in a matter of seconds, by frying everyone's electronics and leaving us in the dark. Here's Ben Carson explaining EMPs.
Well, electromagnetic pulses actually can come naturally or they can be manufactured. Natural ones come from the sun, from activity on the surface of the sun, and it occurs about once every 150 years. The last one was 155 years ago. Our electrical grid is very vulnerable. You know, basically it's like a circuit board being fried by an EMP. It can also be produced by, you know, a nuclear explosion in the correct portion of our exo-atmosphere. And that's what is so dangerous, because we haven't hardened our grid. It leaves us extraordinarily vulnerable, and we're getting progressively more enemies who may have nuclear capabilities and who may have the vehicle to deliver that to our exo-atmosphere. So unless we understand these things and plan for them, we're going to be in trouble.
The left has been silent about this for the last decade. They'd rather give billions of dollars to Iran, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, instead of investing that money into the aging and very vulnerable power grid. And now folks are finally starting to see the truth. This is exactly why I made this warning video, because I believe an electromagnetic pulse is imminent, but also because I want to show you how to make this cheap setup that can shield any device against an EMP. Let me give you a few shocking stats and facts that have scared the daylights out of some top right-wing politicians. Wired magazine says there's a 12% chance the sun will blast a coronal mass ejection, or CME, at 300 miles per second toward Earth by 2020. So it's mathematically certain to happen in the very near future. A space weather study, quoted by Gizmodo, estimates it would cost the U.S. $41.5 billion a day, and it would take months, if not years, for the power grid to be replaced and for things to get back to some sort of normal. Given that it produces an average of 3 CMEs every single day, the sun is nothing but a ticking time bomb waiting to explode, destroy the grid, and any device that's plugged in, and ultimately paralyze society. Then you've got nations such as Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran playing with high-altitude HEMP bombs, which can be even more devastating because they can even fry electronics that are not connected to the grid, such as phones and flashlights. In fact, Russia sold such devices to North Korea in 2014, and here's why.
North Korea wants to launch a satellite, and one of the greatest risks of the satellite is they would place a nuclear device in the satellite as it would orbit around the Earth, and as it got over the United States, they would detonate that nuclear weapon and set off what's called an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, which could take down the entire electrical grid on the eastern seaboard, potentially killing millions.
If you're still skeptical about North Korea's abilities, keep in mind that they now have 2 satellites orbiting the Earth at low altitude. The KMS-3 launched in 2012 and the KMS-4 launched in 2016. And guess what? They both hover over the United States. And let's not forget our good friends from ISIS, who've been planning grid attacks for a long time, are extremely self-motivated and couldn't care less about politics, the lives of others, or even their own lives. They don't even have to make the weapon themselves. A rich, crazy government like those of Qatar or Saudi Arabia can give it to them as a present and let them do the rest, just like they did on 9/11. So what happens if any of these scenarios come true? Total collapse. The large power transformers that are keeping the power grid alive will be completely fried, turning the whole country into a veritable electronics graveyard. Trucks will come to a screeching halt and will stop delivering food, water, and medicine to stores across the nation. The people will be hungry and scared, turning against their fellow men in desperate attempts to feed their families. Looting will be the new national sport, and disease the new biggest killer. That's when the real fun starts. Law enforcement will be paralyzed and unable to communicate to keep things under control. Gangs will take over neighborhoods and turn them into no-go zones. People will end up eating dogs and cats, just like they've been doing in Venezuela in recent years after the collapse. So what will you eat when all of this happens? If you don't know how to protect yourself and your electronics from this silent death wave, or if you're already prepped, just not against EMPs, then keep watching, because I'm about to show you the easy steps you must take today to prepare, and teach you how to make this $5 box that will protect all your essential electronics from any type of EMP. I'm also going to give you a quick 30-second test to know which containers can protect your electronics, because many of the ones you see online are useless, total junk. My name is Dan F. Sullivan, and I'm the editor-in-chief of SurvivalSullivan.com. You've probably seen the content me and my writers are posting on this site, as well as others such as American Preppers Network, Personal Liberty, InfoWars, and Zero Hedge, so you know we talk the talk and walk the walk. I only make videos like these when I have a critical recommendation to give, and this one isn't just about EMPs, but blackouts as well, what I like to call EMP rehearsals, because they too can leave entire cities in the dark for days or even weeks on end and scare millions of people. Like this woman, for instance, who got trapped in an elevator during a blackout. If that were an EMP, she'd most likely experience a deadly freefall. The aging U.S. power grid is hit every 4 days, on average, by either a cyber or physical attack. 225,000 Ukrainian households were left in the dark in 2015 after the power grid was hacked. The number of power outages doubles every 5 years, mostly because of our increased energy needs, but also due to storms, earthquakes, tornadoes, even heat waves. And what will happen when millions of electric car owners will plug their vehicles into the grid every night, all at once, and let them charge overnight for 8 or 9 hours? The dismal D+ rating of the U.S. power grid is definitive proof that even if an EMP doesn't happen, the grid could still fall under its own weight. Look no further than third world countries such as India to see what that would look like. In 2002, 700 million souls were left in the dark. It was horrible. According to The Guardian, electronic crematoriums stopped operating, some with the bodies left half burnt before wood was brought in to stoke the furnaces. In 2014, the entire country of Yemen was left without power for an entire week after Al-Qaeda attacked it. It wasn't the first time either. Still, it's hard to imagine what happens when an electromagnetic tsunami completely fries the aging power grid, phones, laptops, medical equipment such as pacemakers, fridges, keeping anything from food to insulin cold, and even some cars. The cost of replacing everything is unimaginable. Plus, even if your car does survive, remember, gas pumps are also run on electricity. So what can you do to protect your electronics? It's actually pretty easy, and certainly not expensive. All you need is this one weird box you can make at home called a Faraday cage, with simple materials lying around in your kitchen or garage right now that, if done right, will guarantee that all the electronics inside will survive. If done right is key here, because there's a lot of confusion on making them. Many folks are convinced that things like cars and microwaves will work, but they're completely wrong. I cringe every time I hear this, because I know that if the shield is not fully enclosed, the electromagnetic pulse will go right through and fry everything inside. Many Faraday cages have holes in them and are useless in front of a powerful EMP. What you need is a fully enclosed shield. There's a simple 30-second test you can do right now to see for yourself. Place your phone and a portable radio inside a microwave, trash can, or anything else you think would work as a shield. Turn both devices on and make sure your radio is tuned into an AM station. Now, try calling your phone. Is it ringing? What about your radio? Are you getting anything? If the answer to these questions is yes, then that is not a Faraday shield, and it will fail you. Why does this test work? Because EMP pulses hit on a very wide frequency range like those used by cell phones and radios. Now, to make a real Faraday cage, there are two simple rules you need to follow. Rule number 1, the gadgets inside should not touch the outer metal casing. And rule number 2, the metal container must not have any holes or cracks in it, no matter how small. But before I give you the easy-to-follow, done-for-you designs, I need to address something much more important, your long-term survival. You see, once a device, a transformer, or even the power grid gets fried, it's impossible to repair it. We need new ones, built from scratch, because you need the new circuits. Realistically speaking, we're looking at months or even years until the power grid is restored. A box full of working gadgets won't cover all your basic survival needs, so it's critical that you get over your addiction to electricity. Just like a drug, you're dependent on it, because it makes everything so much easier. And when it's gone, when you can't use your phone or laptop, you feel totally helpless. You gotta learn to live without it, because most people won't. Modern life has made everyone soft. People can't even change a tire these days. They can't fix their house, cook on an open fire, or grow their own food. Heck, most can't even change a tire. The other thing we need to talk about is generating your own electricity post-EMP, with parts kept safe inside these Faraday cages. You'll then be able to run electric tools and appliances such as chainsaws, pressure cookers, and washing machines. This is actually something you can do today to slash your electric bill. To recap, the 3 layers of EMP preparedness are: Layer 1, Faraday shields. Layer 2, living without electricity. And Layer 3, free energy forever. Don't worry though, because we've already done all the hard work for you. Me and my amazing prepper writers at Survival Sullivan have once again outdone ourselves and came up with the hands-down best course for surviving blackouts and EMPs anyone ever made. We call it EMP Protocol, and I'm excited to give you a taste of what you'll find inside. Step-by-step videos and pictures on how to make these 2 Faraday box types that will protect your devices against even the strongest EMP. You don't have to pay $30,000 for a copper chamber, or even $30 for Faraday cages advertised on various websites. We'll show you how to make them for less than $5 each. You get the exact materials for every type of box, plus step-by-step instructions. Plus, one of these types of cages is small and light enough to fit in your bug-out bag. What to do the moment an EMP happens, whether you live in the city or on a farm, whether you're bugging in or out. We'll tell you how to move fast, stay safe, and protect yourself and your family. The 3 best ways to safely generate electricity post-collapse. Just keep the spare parts in Faraday shields and you'll have light for years to come. 12 electronics you need to salvage in Faraday cages. Yes, flashlights and emergency radios are on the list, but if you truly want to be prepared for a long-term disaster, you definitely need the others. How to hide the fact that you have electricity. If someone sees light in your window, or if your kid is playing outside with a flashlight, they'll instantly know you have it. These stealth tactics are what you need to make sure no neighbor or even law enforcement can take your devices. How to prepare your vehicle for an EMP, plus a list of car models that are sure to survive it. How to make bug-out bags, get-home bags, and everyday carry kits for you and your family that work not just in EMPs, but in any kind of emergency. We're going deep down the rabbit hole, covering every possible aspect, making sure all of the items inside are protected against shocks, water, puncturing by sharp objects, and even theft. How to bug out on foot. If your car won't work, you'll have no choice but to leave it behind. The roads could be dangerous, but fear not, because we'll tell you how to get to your bug out location safely and in record time. You're going to love this one. How to make your very own DIY portable solar generator for less than $300. No fuel needed, just plenty of sunlight. Last but not least, we're going to have a conversation about how to survive without electricity in the long, hard years following an EMP event. Even when you have it, you still do most things the old-fashioned way, just like our great-grandfathers used to. Plus, you always have to be ready for a second EMP, for your devices to be stolen, and many other unexpected events. Nothing is left out, including food and water procurement, hygiene and sanitation, alternative communication methods, and even things that are often overlooked, such as homeschooling. We really went out of our way to weed out the bad information about EMPs. Best of all, these things will help you survive and thrive in almost any other disaster or emergency, such as social unrest, hurricanes, and an economic collapse. Now, to make this an offer you can't refuse, I decided to add these amazing bonuses to the program that you'll get 100% free when you order the EMP Protocol program. Bonus number 1 is titled Getting Home When SHTF. When an EMP strikes, you may have a few hours before everyone else finds out what's happening and starts to panic. Whether you'll bug in or out, home is where you'll head to first. We'll show you how to make sure you get there safely and in record time. This bonus is focused on survival scenarios and drills and putting them into practice. This bonus is all about taking action. The second bonus is called Barter for Your Life, and it teaches you real-world negotiation strategies that will be of huge importance post-collapse. If you think you can survive without other people, you're very much mistaken. You'll need them to get extra food, water, ammo, and even medical help. The real risk is that you might end up at the wrong end of the barrel if you mess with the wrong people. So extra precaution measures are a must. I'll give you specific things to do before you get to the meeting place. I'll also share some very effective negotiation tactics that will always get you what you want, plus a simple trick to use when the other guy always hesitates to seal the deal. Now you're going to love bonus number 3. I call it How to Prep Under the Radar, and it'll give you lots of ideas on how to prepare without anyone suspecting you're doing it. Many of the things you buy or do to prepare are the same ones everybody does, or buy if they're into certain hobbies. I'll give you a full list of things that will never raise any eyebrows from your neighbors, friends, or coworkers. The last 2 bonuses are straight and to the point. They're lists of things to do or buy for emergencies. No fancy talk, no fluff, just the items you need, plus checklists to make sure you don't forget anything. So there you have it, a complete EMP program with 5 actionable bonuses that will get you ready for pretty much any disaster and emergency. I'm sure by now you're probably wondering how much everything costs, and frankly, I don't want to beat around the bush. I'm not looking to negotiate because if I did, I'd probably start off pretty high at $150 because I think this course is worth at least that. But today, I want to offer you EMP Protocol and all the bonuses for less than $100 because this is information everyone should know. So how about a single, one-time payment of $39 for everything? That's about the cost of an overpriced survival knife on Amazon, which you'll end up regretting anyway. We can help you sidestep this and many other mistakes because me and my writers have done all the work for you. And to make sure you're fully protected, I'm covering you with my 60-day ironclad Prepper's Guarantee. Here's how it works. If you don't like the program for whatever reason, you've got 60 days to initiate a full refund with a simple email. You also get to keep the bonuses, my way of saying thank you for giving us a try. And now it's your turn. It's up to you to decide how you want to handle the future and survival of your family. Because the way I see it, you only have 3 options. Option number 1 would be to ignore this video, accept your fate, and do nothing. Just keep in mind that a solar storm only gives about 12 hours warning. And if you find out about it on TV, then everyone will know. So you'll barely have enough time to prepare. If you happen to be near a TV or a radio, that is, and that's a big if. Option number 2 would be to try and do it on your own. Read blogs and cheap Amazon booklets that give you partial or even worthless information. You can try making Faraday cages and shields based on secondhand information, but they probably won't work. You can even try burying your electronics deep into the ground and they'll still get fried. Up to you if you want to risk it. Just keep in mind that you won't know for sure whether your shield will work until it actually happens. If I were you, I'd pick option number 3. To do what the government and FEMA won't even if they tried. To protect your family and keep them well-fed, healthy, and safe. It's your responsibility to do all of these things, and they won't forgive you if you ignore my warning and it ends up happening. With so much survival information out there, we need to set our priorities right. So if you already did a few things to prepare, then spending 10 minutes to make a Faraday shield is the next logical step. But you have to act fast. Here's why. If an EMP were to strike today, it would take down the internet and all of the servers, which means this site and the EMP protocol course will get shut down, probably for good. Fortunately, regardless of your location, you can download the course and start reading this within minutes. Just keep in mind that this website right here, so long as it's up and running, is the only place to get this exclusive offer. You won't find it on Amazon or in bookstores because I decided to promote it myself to avoid greedy publishing houses who would probably charge more for it, and to stay in touch with my readers and answer questions. So the order form you see when you click the button below is the only way to get it. Hurry up and click it to start your EMP preparedness journey, and I'll see you on the other side with an important message. Still not sure if EMP protocol is for you? No problem. Let me take a few minutes to answer some of the most frequently asked questions. Question: what's an EMP exactly? An EMP is a surge of electromagnetic energy that can fry circuits, power grids, and anything attached to it. There are various types of EMPs, such as those caused by lighting, LEMPs, meteors, and the ones that are more disturbing, EMPs caused by coronal mass ejections from the sun, CMEs, and man-made EMPs, either nuclear or non-nuclear. There are small EMP devices that are capable of shutting down a car's electric system, all the way to nuclear weapons that can take down entire countries. A nuclear blast, by the way, always has an EMP as a side effect. Question: what's a Faraday cage? Faraday cages and shields are designed to absorb electromagnetic radiation to protect their inside. However, they may not be able to fully block all electromagnetic waves. Depending on how they're made and what they're made of, they provide more or less attenuation. Things like microwaves and galvanized trash cans only protect their insides from a narrow frequency range. Large EMPs are known to use a very wide range of frequencies, so it's clear they won't work. The type that works is the continuous Faraday shield, with no holes or openings, using alternating layers of conductive and non-conductive materials, and the thicker the better. Question: is it hard to prepare for an EMP? Not at all. You can make a Faraday cage out of basic materials in 10 minutes, and a basic one won't cost you more than $5. You probably have most, if not all, of these materials lying around the house right now. The tricky part is preparing for the long months and years following an EMP, because even though you'll have electricity, society will stop functioning, and that's a problem. Question: is the 60-day guarantee real? Yes, absolutely. I'm using ClickBank, the biggest online retailer of digital goods, having an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and my site is ClickBank secured and trusted. Their automated process makes it really easy for you to quickly get your money back if you're unhappy for whatever reason by sending either me or ClickBank an email for a full refund. Remember, you have 2 whole months to do it. Question: is the product full of fluff? Absolutely not. I've had my share of survival courses filled with irrelevant stories, personal opinions, and political rants. There will be none of that in EMP protocol. Question: can I get the product in physical format? Not at the moment, no. By making this available in digital format, I can keep the costs low while you get fast, instant access. Question: is my credit card safe? Yes, the transaction is processed by the online retailer ClickBank, and that's what will show up on your bank statement. ClickBank processes hundreds of thousands of e-book transactions every single month, and they've been doing this for a very long time and handle money with care. Question: can I access the product from my phone or tablet? Sure. After your purchase, you'll be taken to the members area, but you'll also get a direct link via email. This way, you'll be able to access the product anytime you want it, simply by logging into your email from your phone, your iPad, or your laptop, and clicking the link to get to the same members area. Question: Dan, can I make a printed copy of this course? How about several? By all means, feel free, make as many as you want.